in Ghana, there is uh, a slave fort probably every 2.5 miles along the coast, which I had no idea before going there, that these slave forts just kind of overcame the entire coast. Some of them, there's just remnants, but there are many that are still standing. Um, and and so the first thing that you do when you go there, I mean, is you're brought to the slave forts. The first time I went, we were waiting to go into the slave dungeon in Cape Coast Castle, and a group was coming out as we were going in. And some of the people were being carried, literally carried out. They had passed out. Uh, there were people who were crying. There were people who had this dazed look on their face, like they had seen something so horrible that they were traumatized. They were in shock. And I didn't want to go in there because of what I saw on the faces of the people that came out. And it's an empty room. There's nothing in there except for the residue of the agony of the people who were put in these dungeons.
Good afternoon. How's everyone doing today? I'm feeling wonderful because I just returned from Africa. I celebrated my 40th birthday in Ghana. It was the first time I'd been away from home and away from my family. And although I missed them, I was just so excited to be back home in the motherland, in the place where all humanity began and the spirit of women was born. I realized during my visit I had to see the slave forts and castles. I experienced Fort Amsterdam, Shama, the fort at Elmina, and of course, Cape Coast Castle. Once inside the slave castle, I was just blown away. I was overwhelmed with feelings of anger, fear, sadness, but most of all, I was overwhelmed with a feeling of familiarity, like I had been there before. And I knew in that instant that someone in my family had been there. Don't ask me how. I could just feel it, you know? And I knew that all she wanted was to be remembered. All she wanted was to be remembered. I feel a spirit, mighty spirit, take me back, bring me back home, where I can be free, where I can be free. Take me back, I wanna go home. Ooh, ooh. The spirit of women is flying free because they live within me.
I'd love for people to begin the healing. The reality is that we all need each other. And, unfortunately with this, I also blame the media for them always talking about the division, how we're so separated. But if you really look, we're very much together. We need to come together all of us, because it wasn't just a Black experience. You know, those people who took part in the slave trade, or whose ancestors took part in the slave trade, they benefited. They are still benefiting. If you don't understand what happened before, how are you going to acknowledge that you are a beneficiary of the slave labor, the lives that were lost, the suffering, um, if you don't if you don't understand it, if you don't know it exists, or that it is related to you? It's such a large issue, but if I can just open the door through my music, through my art, through my poetry, I think I will be somewhat satisfied.